are they all around us even right now at this moment?
So we have the first Navy ship in 2004. We have them again in 2014, 2015, 17 with other ships, all in the same area. How can we say it's one-off? Especially when the Navy and the Pentagon tell us these are UFOs. This is the government telling us that they have reports on things like that. So there's definitely something going on. We need to just keep pushing the envelope so that there is no way they can stay silent. There is a larger truth.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wondered if UFOs are real, and if so, why we've never been able to prove it, then do we have the Tear in the Sky show for you. Today I'll be talking with Cory, UFOologist and the producer of a brilliant new film on UFOs, A Tear in the Sky. And that's just what I want to talk with her about today, about what happened in 2004 and how her team was able to corroborate it in 2021. So welcome back to the show, Carolyn. Are you ready to shine?
Hey, Michael. So good to see you again. You're always glowing.
I think it's the surroundings, but I'll take it as a mighty woohoo!
Yeah.
So I must ask before we dive right into things, are UFOs real?
1,000%. Even the government's telling us they're real now, so there's no question, you know?
Why do you think they're here?
Well, this is a big question because we're not talking about one thing, especially after working on this movie and being in this world for so long. We say UFO and we right away think it's just a flying saucer and little gray men, gray or green or whatever. When in fact, it's multiple things going on. So one of it is actually human technology, black projects that the government doesn't want to tell us about. So why are they here? Because they're working, testing their equipment. But then there's a whole different category of things that appear and disappear that are half organic, half, light, that maneuver in a way that are 1,000% non-human technology. Now, these guys, we can say, why are they here? Why are they here? To me, I think it's kind of like, we don't realize that from their perspective, they're kind of doing their own thing. We always want to think that we're so special or something is happening, but it's just a part of being of a bigger picture, the planetary system, the galaxy. We have other intelligent life out there. And so it is normal. It's kind of like on Earth, you take a trip somewhere, you go visit another country. I think that's what they're doing. And of course, along the way, some of them are looking down at us and saying, these guys are in trouble. Maybe I need to do a little help here, So there's a little bit of that too.
So we're going to go today. I want to talk about your amazing documentary and the incredible success. I want to say luck, but it's not luck. And first off, I know you can call them in, but the amazing success you had with your documentary. And I really want to get into the what's it mean for me? Why is this important to know? But you did have a hero of mine on, and that was William Shatner. And you just mentioned something interesting of UFOs coming to visit us. And it makes me think of Gene Roddenberry and if I have his name right, and the Prime Directive. We can look but not interfere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's just fascinating that, all right, let's get to the crux of it, and then we're going to dive into what it means for everyone. There was an event that took place in 2004. We can talk about it more in just a little bit. And there was, in a sense, Tic Tacs falling out of the sky. You managed to set things up with your crew. You had 5 days to record. And you found almost the very same thing, which is mind-blowing. And it begets such an important question. Was this a one-off? Or are they all around us even right now at this moment?
I mean, to me, I'm like 100% convinced that they're always there because, well, we have the evidence for that. So we have the first Navy ship in 2004, and we have Kevin Day, the radar person who caught us, who's the first who caught them. He was the first person to catch them on radar. And then he's saying it was raining those tic tac like objects, and not only once or twice, but over several days. And then we have them again in 2014, 2015, 17 with other ships, the USS Omaha, the USS Kidd, all in the same area. So that's interesting. How can we say it's one off, you know? So especially when the Navy and the Pentagon tell us that this is real, that these are Navy personnel, they weren't lying, these are UFOs. And so that's the reason why I'm 100% convinced that these things are still there as we speak.
Do you think they're trying to communicate with us?
Well, again, it depends on what type of UFOs we're talking about. Some of those, I believe, are drones. So I don't think they're communicating with us. If anything, they're collecting information. They are doing a sort of a supervision, some sort of task. I mean, that's how it seems to me. Of course, I have no proof, where it's all speculation, but just the fact that we keep catching them on camera and record them, the way they move and the way they operate. And, it's definitely not a technology that is current. That's for sure. If it's a black project, perhaps, but that tells us that it's, that they're not necessarily communicating with us. They're doing something else.
So I'm going to get very shortly for everybody listening or watching today into what this means for our lives. But, okay, we had a report come out from the government last year, and it was 1,500 pages of not so much stuff. 143 out of 144 things can't be explained. And yet, we go back to 2004. You have this radar man. You have aircraft personnel who experienced this. And then you had kind of the men in black, the men in khaki, land with a helicopter on board. I think it was on the Nimitz, and take all the information and run away with it. Why has the government been hiding this?
Again, I think if it is some sort of a black project, then, they don't want the public to know. They don't want other governments to know. Or some of it they really don't know, and so that's the reason why they're not going to divulge, and say, "Hey, we have all this evidence, but we have no clue." In fact, that's what they said. They said in the first report, it was a 9-page report, and they said, there is some evidence. They didn't think all of it was accurate, although, to be honest with you, like even one, if you have one piece of evidence that there's something that's of extraterrestrial origin, that's good enough to look into it, you would think. But anyway, they said, we don't know what it is. Give us more money and then we'll see if we can tell you more. And they had a whole classified version of the report. So if they don't know, and it's all, you know what I mean? Like, what is classified? You know what I mean? If they're classified, it means there's something of interest that they're not sharing as well.
Well, it doesn't add up. None of it adds up. Your budget, no matter how much you had to make this amazing documentary, is fractional compared to what already exists in the Pentagon. And the report said, give us more money. So clearly, we're going back to what is it, Blue Book, and going back before. The money is there, the resources are there, and they know a lot. The big picture question then becomes, how much would our paradigm change if we know even a fraction of what they know about who or what is here with us?
Exactly, but I just want to answer a little bit of the beginning of that question, which is, in 5 days, we were able to collect so much data, and people will see that in the movie, not just the objects that look like the exact same Tic Tacs, but also other crazy anomalies, and these are scientists. These aren't, woo woo people or whatever, who are trying to make a point. I mean, this is actual data that's analyzed and measured by real scientists, and these are 100% anomalous events. So in 5 days, if we were able to collect so much information and real data, to me, that's proof enough that the government must have a huge amount of data. Does that make sense? And so, you know what I mean? Because we did, and we even with our instruments, although it was pretty impressive, I must say, but the government must have all sorts of radar systems. I mean, they have to have a ton of data.
If you simply go back to 2004 and the data that was taken away, we're left with grainy images of this tiny thing where you don't think there's HD cameras on the most sophisticated planes in the world.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think one of the things we did in the film is to prove, I mean, to validate that we did it. We're civilians and we did it so easily with sophisticated equipment, but not, I mean, the government. So exactly. So to me, that's a huge, huge piece of evidence that this film brings through. But then to answer your question, why is this important to me? The average person listening to this, how is that relevant to me? First of all, for those who do believe in UFOs and want validation, I think this film is taking it to a whole new level. I mean, we're not just analyzing footage on YouTube. We are going there from scratch with very, very sophisticated equipment, capturing things in real time, having correlations with radiation across multiple devices from different angles with triangulation. I mean, this has never been done before. So for those who are already into the UFO world, I think this film is going to really, really help empower you to just keep doing the work and believing more and more. And for those who are questioning or wondering, what this film does, again, is bringing that sort of science and validation, brings more evidence to the bigger picture. Okay, we are on this earth, we are looking down, we're not looking up. We're not wondering and thinking, how do I fit within the bigger picture on the earth and within the planetary system, within the galaxy? People say, how is that relevant? It's very relevant because everything that you do on the earth has a repercussion on a global level. So if you start to understand that we are being visited, or we have technology that is so advanced that is not being shared with us, you start to kind of put your mind, everything that you're doing on a daily life is now in it's kind of within the larger perspective of there is a larger truth. My life is about understanding how can I contribute to the larger truth. Because I'm going to tell you something. I believe the reason why this technology that is extremely advanced, whether it's some of it is human and definitely extraterrestrial, this technology has to do with freedom, it has to do with free energy. It has to do with our connection, direct connection with the universe. It has to do with spontaneous healing. It has to do with the physical body being an instrument, just being part of a much larger energy system. So that's why, first of all, a lot of it is being kept secret, and a lot of it, is not understood. So that's why the average person starts to ask those questions and summon more of this understanding so that they can benefit from it on a daily perspective.
So thank you, Carolyn. So we're going to try to dive into each one of these. I think this is fun to parse this, to pull this apart. To me, we have been primed. First, we're told They're not real. It's swamp gas. You guys are freaks. You're crazies. Then suddenly the government, sleight of hand, renames UFO to UAP. So you can still be a nutter if you say UFO, but if you say UAP, well, you're in the in club. Then we're going to start. It didn't just start last year with a report. Little subtle things come out, little tiny droppers, and then it starts to be a trickle, then a stream, then a report. And so I'm looking big picture. What's going on both from a maybe out there perspective or in a shift of consciousness? Why now? What's going on? What's the game at play?
I think the government is really just catching up because so many people has been putting out so much information and whistleblowers and data that cannot be refuted. And so they're, at one point they're going to have to say, hey, we know something, we're working on it. They have to say something. So that was 2017. But now, very recently, they put out this report, this 1,500-page report, where they're talking about coming in contact with these crafts and having radiation effects and having nightmares, but also they're talking about abduction and having some weird sexual encounters. This is the government telling us that they have reports on things like that. So there's definitely something going on, but I truly believe they're trying to catch up with what we are doing, with what people keep putting out there, with more and more evidence, more and more whistleblowers. So, that's the reason why I think we need to just keep pushing. And that's why I'm so excited about this film, because we have to keep pushing the envelope so that there is no way they can stay silent. So to me, I see it in this way. I could be wrong, that it's not them that have the agenda. Of course, they have an agenda, but I mean, in the disclosure, we are leading, we are pushing the envelope to get them to give us more. You're going to have to give us more. You're going to have to do more, better than that every single time.
You mentioned, thank you, Carolyn. You mentioned earlier freedom. You mentioned the universe. You mentioned all of us and even our bodies being part of an entire system. How much do you believe this has to do with either the evolution of consciousness or the evolution of humanity?
Well, it is both. It's exactly that. It's the evolution of consciousness and the evolution of humanity. So just a little bit of a, kind of background, the way I understand and the way I've been experiencing space itself, the fabric of space-time, is that it's kind of like a grid. It's like the energy field. The body has an energy field. Well, the earth also has an energy field, so to speak. And so everything is geometric, everything is patterning, everything is mathematics. And so just like the physical body has its own geometry, then the planet will have this patterning of space around it with certain points, certain hot spots, if you will, or hub areas, just like we have meridian points, like we have chakras, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. The planet is a body, is an intelligent life, not like the human body, but it's, slightly different, but it's still an intelligent being in that way. And so it's going to have meridians. It's going to have a magnetic field. I mean, that's measurable. Science tells us. And so the magnetic field also is not random. And it's going to have certain points that will allow entry and exit points. And so this is where I believe it all comes together. If we understand how this magnetic field, how this energy field of the planet works, and how it relates to the human body, then we will notice that there are points that correlate with the human body. In other words, certain points in space correlate to certain points in the body. These are the chakras or the meridians, the entry and exit points of cosmic energy. This means that we are receiving light and cosmic energy from the universe to our planet, and technically through our physical body, to nourish us, to give us the self-healing capability, to give us the self-repair capability, to give us the guidance and the constant communication with the rest of the universe. That's what this patterning of space does, and why it correlates with our physical brain and physical body. So if we understand that the UFOs are using that technology, in other words, they know exactly where to appear and disappear. Why? We see them always in those hot spots because they understand the principle of those hot spots, which are the entry and exit points where they can come from very far away in space and just show up just like that instantaneously at this particular location in space. This means they have mastered space travel and they have mastered everything else, the connection within the universe. Does that make sense? Do you see how it's all kind of connected?
Yes, there are at least 3 directions, 3 places I want to go with this. Fasten your seatbelts, everyone. Let's see if I can pull this off here. First off, this is, and this gets into the history of humanity not being as we thought it was, because certainly there are many alternate versions of history where we did not come from here, and many who were even rulers here really didn't come from here. I'm going back to ancient Egypt, and I'm going back to the Temple of Luxor, which is laid out in a sense like a human being, and where there are specific points of energy that matter, mirroring exactly what you're describing right now, which is men mirroring, again, what's taking place in the heavens. There are these cosmic clues, and it sounds like, even if we want to go to this way, cosmic surgery taking place where these vehicles come in at these energy points, almost as if acupuncture is being done on the energetic, etheric body of all of humanity.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You put it in you use different words, but it's exactly it. And so just a little detail here, which is huge. All these meridians or hub points or whatever are coherent and they're resonant with each other, meaning if you're at one spot, you can be in all other spots spontaneously. And all those points talk to each other, they're communicate because they're the exact same resonance. And so that's how, when information comes to this one spot, it could be circulating instantaneously throughout the planet and into your body instantaneously, because it's all the same resonance points.
So let's play with this a little bit more. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right at all. A Chaldney plate. There is this science experiment that was done almost maybe a century ago, where they would take a, let's call it a pot or a dish that had sand in it, and you would start to vibrate from underneath, and one geometric pattern would appear, and then another geometric pattern appear, always with nodes and lines, and these more and more sophisticated patterns as the frequency went up. We are each both a grain of sand and an essential part of this repatterning that is taking place both inside and outside of our bodies.
That's exactly it. What I love you. I mean, you said it so perfectly. It's cymatics. So it's exactly it. When the energies come in, they shift everything into perfect geometric patterns. And all these points on the geometric pattern are coherent with each other. And so that's when people say we're connected. It's not like some, concept out there. We're literally connected energetically. So that's the reason why when we're introducing UFOs and beings and objects appearing, disappearing, they're showing us that space has those patterns. It's a clue to this whole patterning of space that we're talking about.
I didn't make the connection till now, and it certainly wasn't where I was planning on going. But you can go certain. No. You went where beautifully. What I'm saying is, for myself, I hadn't planned on going there. But we can go to the UK in the summertime, and we can go and look at these patterns in the crop fields, which are these advanced geometric shapes. Going, hello, guys, wake up to this. This is you. Now I want to go from there. This is you. We each play a cosmic note. You have the most beautiful note. I have a beautiful note. We all do. And that note matters because of this term resonance and frequency. And we're playing a song of humanity. And so when you sit at home saying, I don't matter, I believe that we're going to call them little green men up in the sky today saying, wait a minute, actually, you do matter. And your frequency is what shifts everything for all of us.
Exactly. And I believe, going back to why are they here, I believe like those beings that are trying to make contact in this way, whether through a light UFO or half organic UFO or just appearing and downloading, that's exactly what they're doing. They're reminding us that everything is resonant, and so, the contribution you have to think of every time you emit a thought, you are contributing to the collective consciousness. And so it's shifting that shape, if you will. It's shifting this geometry. So think about that. It's a huge responsibility. So, every time I'm creating my life and I'm putting out horrible thoughts for myself, like I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I'm separate, I can't do this is whatever. It's changing that vibration of the collective because we are energetically connected, whether we like it or not. So that's why the contribution is so important on an individual level.
Well, now you're talking heart coherence and you're talking global coherence. And I'm wondering also, I'm going back to the heart and I'm wondering if there's a mirror effect. So, first off, if we're thinking gloom and doom, we're emitting from our hearts gloom and doom out into the world. Can we focus on something to do with the stars, something to do with the ethos, something to do with these higher dimensional beings that then we can radiate it back into our heart to vibrate at a better or different frequency?
Exactly, because that's exactly the idea. You are part of the whole. You are one grain of sand within the whole geometric pattern. And so if you move, everything else is going to move. And then when that whole structure moves, it's going to radiate back to you. So that's the reason why it is so important to notice throughout the day, what thoughts are you emitting? How are you feeling? Because even feelings are vibration. And even if you're not speaking them out loud, it's energy. You're emitting energy. Literally you can put you're emitting light. There's biophoton measurement devices that measures the amount of light that comes out of your body. You know what I mean? So there are instruments that actually measure your emotional state, your mental state. So, when people say it's not going to matter, yes, it does. And so that's the reason why this is so important. It's a revolving door. We can't say that, the universe is not bringing this to me. You have to start with what are you emitting to the universe first, and then make sure that's coherent with that so that the universe brings it back to you.
Thank you. And it means like I have a baby due in 4 days. And
Yay!
thank you. And it is easy for my energy to go into logistics mode. I've got to do this. And I really get to watch my energy even more so. Now, speaking about even more so, I am the opposite of a gloom or doom guy. I know we're at a bifurcation of humanity, a choice, go off the cliff or make it. I believe that choice has already taken place. And we'll get to time in a little bit because I think time is super relevant here. However, do you believe that us on a higher plane, us from elsewhere, or other beings from elsewhere are here now, specifically at this time, particularly post-atomic start of the age and with everything going on today, which seems like an accelerator for a specific reason?
Yeah, 1,000%. And again, I'm kind of tying it back to the UFO thing because they're just making their appearance in that way. This is only one way. But there's also different types of beings that have incarnated in human form that technically aren't supposed to incarnate. And when I say not supposed to, usually these types of consciousness don't take on a human body to evolve. And so, but they have, I feel that I'm very aware of those beings that have taken on a human shape a lot of the new children have this new configuration, and for the purpose of adding or mutating the new human DNA and evolving it to a much more expansive state of consciousness. So we have those. We have those appearing in our skies. And then we have those that come in through dimensional doorways, if you will, kind of assist and then leave. You know, people who have downloads or who have visitations, who connect with angels or not just beings, you know, that receive some sort of healing or some sort of important information, and then that being dissolves. And so we're really getting the help from all different directions and in different ways. And again, bringing it back to the UFOs, are the most visible, you know, measurable, trackable part of this much, much more bigger picture that I think is helping us.
Thank you. And I teach automatic writing. I help people to connect with higher dimensional beings. It seems to me that, and I consider myself an angels guy, but truth be told, it's not angels, it's not guides, it's not any label we put on it. There are energies, entities at a higher dimension, meaning they've been in the game longer than I have. They've had skin in the game longer than us, that are here now no matter what we want to label them, to help us through this time.
Yeah, exactly. There's different types of beings. I mean, I see them on the other side of the veil, you know. And so because they don't have a physical body, then it's hard for them to maintain this frequency, you know, the frequency, the range, the visual spectrum, the physical body spectrum. It's heavy, it's dense. And so they're just pure consciousness right now. So it's hard for them to come in and stay on this side. So that's the reason why people say, well, why don't we just show up? Yeah, they do show up a little bit. They kind of bring their vibration to within our spectrum. They do what they need to do, tell us what they need to tell us, and then they have to go back. Otherwise, it's very hard for them. So so we are getting messages like you're saying in automatic writing and all sorts of, you know, lucid dreaming and all kinds of meditation. You know, we get those messages from different types of beings. And when I see them, I see some of them are angels, but a lot of them are also extraterrestrials. But they have something to do with your lineage. It's the part of the universe where you came from. That's the reason why we hear of people who are connecting and communicating with Pleiadians, other people with Arcturians, other people with, I don't know, reptilians or what have you. Why? Why isn't it always the same being? It's because that extraterrestrial entity, this consciousness, has something to do with your lineage. And the line of communication is still open for you to bring that lineage through the human aspect, to learn from it and to put it out into the human collective consciousness so that you can evolve that consciousness.
I can't believe I'm going to ask this question because I've worked with clients from many different lineages and I've experienced where I'm told my lineage is, who knows? However, does this mean we are all hybrids?
To some degree. So what happens is that there's a category of humans that is more human than non-human on Earth, but there's a huge, I want to say like a 3% of human population that is non-human in the sense that their DNA, of course, we appear human, you know, like obviously we have hair and eyes or whatever, so that we appear, but then you remember all the junk DNA that nobody can figure out, you know, it's still there. Can you imagine whoever created intelligent species says, you know, I'm going to create this human species and I'm going to do 10% that makes sense. And the rest, we're just going to like not give it any purpose whatsoever. It's just going to be there, you know, it doesn't make any sense. So to me, yeah, so this junk DNA, the rest of our DNA that supposedly nobody can decode, has to do with the original lineage that you came from. And but the appearance, even though the packaging looked this way, but you came in the human body for the expression of this other lineage. And again, everything is energy, everything is resonance. So that's why awakening to your lineage, the awakening activates it. And it's almost like you become more conscious. So, for example, right now I'm aware of my lineage and I'm just speaking, where I'm just having a conversation with you, right? If I'm not aware, if I haven't done my work, if I'm not awaken, if you will, then I'm just, kind of going about my business, and I'm just, so the energy that comes out is focused on my human mind, on logic, on belief systems. It's very human. But if I am very open, very awakened and unconscious of that energy that comes through me, that is my real lineage, when I speak to you, I speak from my cellular memory because it's my whole being. And so I could be saying the exact same thing as someone else next to me, but the energy coming out of me, because I'm activated with my non-human lineage, is now putting out a much bigger, much more powerful, and much more complex energy through every word, through the resonance of what I say, through the resonance of everything that I do. You see why the individual awakening is so important.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's go there. It's interesting. I had a show actually, it airs today, on the 12 angels of Atlantis, and talking about the Atlanteans and 12-strand DNA and where we came from. Is there a simple way that we can begin to awaken to our lineage, or awaken to activate all of our DNA rather than running around at just 10%?
This is the exact purpose of life. It's for you to reawaken to who you really are. You are just a tiny portion human, because you have to operate as human. People have to look at you and think you're human. You have to function as a human. But the real purpose is to bring your original, true, divine essence through everything that you think, say, or do. How do you do that? First of all, you have to intend. You have to decide that that's what you want. And then you have to find a meditation technique, which is, I think I told my story on your show the first time when I was 5 years old, how I came in contact with these beings and I saw that it was my lineage. And so I realized that this lineage connection is a stream of consciousness that's never severed. It's almost like you are here on this side of the veil in human form, and the rest of you, your divine lineage with your spirit family, that I call a spirit family, continues on. Like it just looks like human, and then it continues on. And so in that line of communication and lineage transfer and exchange is never severed. And so when I realized that on a cellular level, I realized that there's a specific technique of meditation that will help you, reestablish this connection. And I call this meditation connecting to source. And so it's free on my website. People can just go and download it. And listen to it. Very simple, but it opens that line of communication and takes you directly back to the source of your original being. And so the more you do that, the more you train your human brain to allow this flow to come through specifically from that point in your original universal consciousness. So that's crucial, to retrain your brain to go there. And then, of course, addressing, what comes up on a daily basis. Before you know it, you will start to remember. You'll start to, because all this information is in your cells. It's already here. So that's kind of how you can go about it.
Thank you. Is there a mantra or a phrase or something you recommend others use or that you've used yourself to help remind you? I can't help think of, there's a former, I don't know if it's a hit song to me that was incredibly disempowering. And I don't know the title, but the line is, I'm only human. Is there something that can remind us on a daily basis or minute to minute basis that I am so much more, that I am, from Carl Sagan, of the stars, of the stardust, and so much more?
I don't have only one sentence, but the thing that comes to mind right now, that's that meditation is remembering who I really am. So I would say something like, I am a universal consciousness currently expressing myself through this human body. If you keep saying I am a universal divine essence, a universal, so meaning from somewhere in the universe and divine essence, expressing myself through this human body, I think it kind of shifts back your perspective to starting from there, not starting from this physical brain. And this should help. And it also brings it through your heart as well and through your cells.
Can we tune this vessel to be able to connect with extraterrestrials, to be able to speak or call them in?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was saying with the meditation. And of course, I have several techniques that I teach people how to connect.
Is there one you can teach us here today? A simple one, perhaps?
We could do the connecting to source. It may take a little while, but I also wanted to say that we're getting clues. So remember earlier we were talking about all the beings being here, and I said there's some that are showing up in our skies, some of them that are interdimensional, and others that are incarnated. Well, so in the same way, like, we can do one type of meditation to start to remember cellularly, but also all these other clues, the UFOs, for example, I just want to give a very brief example, how it all ties in. In other words, we can use the different tools, not only this one specific tool of meditation. So just a quick little story. I was in my house one time, and all of a sudden I look up and I see these three orbs that are like bouncing off of each other, like going boom, boom, boom. And I thought, are these searchlights? Like, what's going on? Because it was Memorial Day, Labor Day. And so I said, no, that doesn't make sense, because searchlights would do something different. So of course I said, I'm going to communicate. So I said, if there is intelligence behind this thing, then they'll be able to hear me, connect with me. And so I said, if you are there, which I could tell, but I wanted to test, I wanted to experience it. Let me know that you can hear me. And so all of a sudden, the three light orbs are bouncing off each other. All of a sudden, they become 4, then they become 6, then they become 8. And I was like, okay, that's great. I saw that. Let's do something else. Follow me. And so I started walking like half a mile in one direction, and they were like literally hovering right above me, like in this direction. And then I said, awesome. Okay, well, follow me this way. So I'm like, then totally changed direction, and they're hovering right above me. So, and then I knew exactly when they were going to leave. I knew exactly, because we established this communication. So my point being, this was evidence for me that I wasn't crazy, because I was communicating and getting the response, the physical validation of what I was doing. And so this is an incredible experience. Think about that. To remind us that your mind, your consciousness is able to tap into intelligences just like that. So what if that being was part of my lineage, you see? So what I'm saying is there's all these clues. There's like coming from the sky, coming through our dreams, coming, and then the meditation. The meditation gives you the basic core of all of this work.
Awesome. And then I guess I'll have you, if it's okay with you, we'll do a meditation then at the end. So I want to go into the nature of time for a minute. So this one is kind of a mind bender. If interdimensional beings, and I like that term, interdimensional, they're operating outside of the speed of light. They're operating still, some level of physics is wormholes and things like that, but these are operating with the technology of thought. To me, when you're operating at the technology of thought, the rules of time no longer apply. Time is no longer this linear thing that we experience on Earth. It's more of a stacked. You can choose where you're going to go. What does that mean for beings showing up here at this time? Because I'm guessing time to them is not the same as it is to us.
Exactly. And that's another thing, though, what I'm saying, it's so important. We learn so much about, that's why I chose to make this film on UFOs. It's not the UFO itself, it's the mechanics of the universe. That's what I'm interested in, because technology should be based on the mechanics of the universe, shouldn't be based on someone's pocketbook. You know what I mean? So that's why, by exploring the potential of these technologies or whatever is happening, is for us to understand how space-time works. And to me, like I said, in those hotspots, in those hub areas, you are outside time space, and you need to be outside time space to be able to access any point in the universe. Because if you are within this time space, then you're going linearly. You're saying, today, tomorrow, the next day. It's very linear. You're not at a 0 point, what I call 0 point. And 0 point gets you to any point in time and space, forward, backwards, in all directions. That's the reason why you have to go back to the 0 point, the outside time space. And by the way, that's what the meditation does. And then from that point, if you want to go in the future, you can. If you want to go to a past life, you can. If you want to go back to your original divine self, you can. You are everywhere at once.
You mentioned freedom earlier. And you mentioned freedom, and then there is profit, and there is I'm not picking on it, it's just where we are in our evolution, or where we were, maybe is a better way to call it. It seems difficult to understand from this level of consciousness how we will move to, for instance, free energy, which already exists. It's already here. We can already tap into it. Is it we get to go and play as individuals at this 0 point in meditation, in our daily emissions of energy, transmissions of energy, and when we pop and hit that next state change, then the whole system for profit of not being able to figure out what is actually there falls away.
Exactly. That's exactly the idea. Because a lot of people are working at transforming the current system. My philosophy is the current system has created such a momentum. For 200,000 years, we're based on separation and competition and so on and so forth. So trying to fix that, it's almost like momentum is so great that it's hard to all of a sudden try to change course. So my philosophy is, it is what it is. Why don't we create a parallel reality and consciousness and create momentum on that? Because it's already based on oneness. It's based on connection with the universe. It's based on heart. It's based on the universal principles from the get-go. So the momentum of that energy is going to be greater, first of all, and purer. We're not fixing someone else's creation, even though we're part of it too. But you see what I mean? We're not we're not fixing a broken system. We are creating a brand new one. And so that's why my hopes is more around what you're saying. The more people understand this and focus on that, the more that momentum becomes so powerful that the creations that ensue are like more for free energy for all, freedom, healing, self-repairing yourself on your own. This is our birthright, Michael. It's crazy to think that you have to, you need a product or an object or a pill to fix everything in your body. Having said that, the momentum is so great. The physical body has been so disrupted in its functioning for so long that some of it at this point is required, unfortunately, a surgery or something for a time. Because that's it's the only option. The momentum is so great. But if this momentum, the new trajectory that's based on pure connection with the universe, self-repair, self-healing, becomes so great that the body is going to be able once again to find its ability to self-heal, self-repair spontaneously, instantaneously. So you don't have time to create cancer cells. Like the body, as soon as something's off, it's like, boop, it fixes. You know what I mean? Because you interact with the physical world, things happen, but you're constantly self-repairing, resetting. That's the way it's supposed to be operating. We're getting there on this trajectory. So we gotta allow this old paradigm trajectory to self-destruct eventually.
I have twin titanium femurs, twin titanium hips. I'm a walking, talking tuning fork or dowsing rod. And it strikes me as there's a reason for that. But to use it as a metaphor here, we have a tuning fork that's broken. And no matter how much we try to tune to that, that is the old paradigm. It's not going to get us anywhere. If we instead hit the new tuning fork and hit it again and hit it again, the 0 point as you're describing, and keep hitting it, then we get in resonance with that frequency. The old doesn't even exist anymore. We're vibrating here.
And that's exactly our work. And the more we awaken to who we are, the more we become this larger, more intelligent lineage that we are supposed to be, the more we want to self-heal, self-correct. You see, it's a revolving door. It makes us feel more and more real, and that makes us choose and ask for the original way we were supposed to be, which is my body can self-heal, self-protect, self-repair. Same thing with my house, being able to receive the electricity, the power it needs without having to plug in this and plug in that and pay this bill. It's crazy. Sometimes I have I don't know about you, but sometimes I get so overwhelmed when I look at all the cables, like how we're plugging it just to receive energy. It's insane. Does that make sense? It's like, we're also doing the same with water. We're getting water, nutrition, power through this old paradigm, these cables plugging into an old, worn out, greedy system.
So if we could speak, if there was one message, this isn't even fair, this is a loaded question. If we could distill, using water, distill down the message of the extraterrestrials or the us on the other side coming to us now at this time, and they were giving us a wake-up call, what would they tell us, Carolyn?
Remember who you really are. Again, it goes back to the core of your being, because that your original self does not know separation. You came here and you learn separation. You learn to be a failure. You learn your parents told you, beat you down, your friends or whatever. But when you ask to be who you really are, you bring everything back to your original pure divine essence that you truly are. And that energy will propel you, will move you in the right direction and make you ask for the right things, the right intentions, and will move you on the proper trajectory of oneness and freedom.
Thank you. Let's go back to your amazing documentary, and then we'll do a brief meditation here at the end. I'm very excited for it. What kind of, forgive me for asking this, but it was dumbfounding how there were these tic tacs, we're calling them, falling out of the sky in 2004 that were caught on camera, were caught on radar, and you bring those individuals into this documentary, which is just mind blowing. And then there are tic tac like vehicles falling out of the sky again. Huge, behemoth vehicles with energy that humanity cannot cannot create, caught on all of these different kind of scientific instruments. So the question is, and it was brilliant, Carolyn, absolutely brilliant. But the question is, what kind of energetic meddling were you either doing behind the scenes, or what was the energy that even called you to do this? Because there's a lot more here, I know it, than meets the eye.
Yeah, it's funny you ask this because, we wanted to make a scientific documentary of ufology, of UFOs, because there's nothing like it out there. It's all kind of saying it's this or the government does that. Da, da, da. So I wanted to bring the science. And so the people in the cast were real hardcore scientists. And, they're not into connection or communication or nothing. It was more like, okay, nuts and bolts. And in a way, it was good because we were able to get these very measurable things. But I was like, okay, wait, I'm funding this film, that's very expensive. You saw the quality of the production. I mean, this is a big film, it's very high quality. We had like 10 cameras running at once in different, locations. And so it was a huge investment for 5 days. And I was like, you guys, it's like, this is a lot. So give me something, I'll be happy with like one important thing, whatever it is. I was open. But I tell you, I really had to do this work on my own because that wasn't what the cast was into. And it wasn't really the focus of the film. So that's cool. Well, first of all, people ask me about the title, A Tear in the Sky. I called it A Tear in the Sky 2 years ago. And sure enough, yeah. And I knew because I know about these openings and I'm fascinated because I think that's the base of understanding all of reality. That's why so I wanted to integrate that with the idea of UFO. So I called the film A Tear in the Sky 2 years ago. And then I kept kind of, okay, just give me something. And I knew it was July 14th. And so that's kind of what was the message. And so sure enough, we scheduled it the week of July 14th. And exactly, we started the 12th or the 10th, I don't remember. And exactly July 14th was the first thing we captured. We ended up capturing multiple anomalies starting July 14th. And which, people will see that in the film. It's not just your typical stuff that you see on YouTube. One of them, again, looks like those Tic Tacs as well. But then at the end, we capture this crazy anomaly. I'm not going to give it away, but a little bit, because people need to see this for themselves, how it unfolds. Crazy anomaly, never been studied, recorded, measured before. That basically is a sort of an opening, a tear in the sky with physical objects in there. How do you feel? That was like the icing on the cake. I was like, okay. So yes, that was the background. I mean, I at the time, I knew it was going to be something, but that was so much fun. And it's astounding to be able to get this stuff on tape. So I'm very, very excited for people to see it and discover that in the film.
How much, and then I want to get into where can people go to get the film. How much of you're a mystic, and I'm a mystic. A mystic is someone, we're all on this path toward mysticism if we're energetically sensitive. A mystic to me is someone who lives on both sides of the veil simultaneously. How much have you already communicated with your future self, with the you on the other side of the veil, that's saying, you have to do this, you have to birth it, it already exists?
Yeah, exactly. So what happens, I've been doing this work for so long. I developed all these methodologies again to keep this line of communication open between my human self and my original self, my spirit, family, source, all of that. So what happens, it's a revolving door. I don't do anything, Michael, nothing, if I don't feel it's coming from that place. I don't care how much money it's going to bring me. I don't care, blah, 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 blah. So that's the first thing I always ask, and make sure that it is coming from that place of clarity. So that's why I was actually going to do a sequel of my last film, Superhuman. And all of a sudden it was boom. It's like, no, 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 do a UFO movie. I was like, UFO? Yeah, but I mean, da, da, da. And it was like, do a UFO movie. And things fell into place like boom, 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 like crazy for people who understand filmmaking. Pre-production, I mean, by the time I had the idea, to the time that production took place, so I had the idea before Christmas. By March, I had it all written out. I mean, laid out, because you write it after, and with the cast and everything. And we went out, and production happened in July.
Which is crazy.
Crazy, super, super fast. And the level of production, I mean, we were filming with red camera. I mean, this was a big crew, expensive production, so it was put together so quickly. I couldn't have done it if I was coming from a human mind, like, hey, what do I do? Da, da, da. It was always guided. So in the same way throughout my day, sometimes simple thing, people think it's ridiculous, but sometimes if I'm meeting a new friend or I don't know, just anything, I'm always checking. I'm always saying, is this aligned? Is this what I should be saying to this person? Is this, I'm always in this state of consciousness, and that's the only thing that keeps me going. Sometimes the answer is super crazy and bizarre, and it's like, really? Are you sure? But then I trust, because like way down the road, something happens that brings validation to that decision. So I feel that this is how people should be living, from the smaller decision to the bigger ones.
That's living in coherence.
And it's also kind of gets you straight to the point. We're here to be on a higher path. We have a specific purpose. And if we don't get on this purpose path, eventually we're going to hit a wall. We're going to things aren't going to work, and we're going to have to deal with it in our 50s and 60s or whatever, or 40s or whatever. So, because at that point, you're going to realize you didn't pay attention to this. You didn't, release this relationship. You didn't realign your career. You didn't focus on your body, da, 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 da. And so you have to do it because you came in with that agreement. So, and then you're forced to do it because then you can't exit. And it's harder. So you might as well do it now and say, as of today, I am making the choice and the decision and the intention to align my physical, human, planetary self with my higher consciousness and the intention of my original self and the intention of source. You're aligning the two together in perfect resonance, and things start to flow.
There's a giant woohoo that wants to come out, but I got to go even beyond that, Carolyn. Woohoo! There's a path always that I'm hoping that an interview will take. And I know the interview is in alignment. When their interviewee goes where I want without me saying anything, because that's coming from the other side. That's just what you did. Brilliance, pure brilliance. And I want everybody to play this and play this over and over again. Of course, you've got to check out A Tear in the Sky. But A Tear in the Sky, that opens you up to the possibility. Now play this over and over and over again because there's so much more meaning to it. I'm dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded. With that said, where can people go to find A Tear in the Sky and find all of your beautiful work?
So they can go to atearinthesky.com and they'll see a link to purchase or to rent or, the film. So atearinthesky.com. And for all the consciousness work, the ability to communicate and healing and things like that, they can go to carolinecory.com, CAROLINE, Cory, CORY.com. And so, going back to alignment, when we started communicating and talking, Michael, I saw you, kind of connected directly to source, and me connected directly to the source, and me connecting to you in this kind of tetrahedral kind of structure, so that we're both in alignment with our higher consciousness at the source. So whatever comes through me, whatever comes through you, is resonant for not just us, but whoever's receiving this energy, and it's coming from our higher perspective.
Thank you, and I couldn't agree more. And I always describe it like that as well. Somebody asks about an interview. With that said, an answer while you were speaking to a question started to come up, a question that I haven't even gotten a chance to ask you. So it's fascinating. When I start to cry, it means that a truth has been hit. And I started to tear up as you were saying that to me, which begets the very question and may also answer it. It's not just a tear in the sky. I know you had to have thought about it. It is a tear in the sky. And what does that mean?
I know exactly. And it's funny, a lot of people would, DM me, is it a tear or a tear? And I knew when I called it a tear, that was going to happen. And so I thought, is this a good thing or not a good thing? Because we want the people to, to kind of understand what the film is about. And I was like, no, it's perfect. It's like, let people kind of gravitate to whatever comes out because it's really both.
And the tear to me are truth. It means we hit a truth, and that's what this movie is all about. So before we go into a meditation, just one last question for you. Do you think we're all being prepared for something greater that's coming?
Yeah, I mean, we already are on this trajectory. We've been talking about this plan B, if you will, this new trajectory. I think what it takes is for us to believe, because it's very hard. We're bombarded with all this negative stuff, and, so I think we are being prepared. We have been prepared. It's just now, the more we believe, the more we will see evidence of this trajectory. We will see evidence of where we're headed and where we're going. If we don't hold that vision of where we want to go, where we want to be, who we want to be, then it won't happen. And so, are we being prepared? We have been prepared. Now it's a matter of saying, I want this. I got this. I'm ready for it. I'm going for it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Would you mind then, Carolyn, leading us in a 0-point meditation?
Yes. Would the point be for you to revisit who you are or to establish communication?
I think we got to go
Let's
to
establish communication.
Exactly.
Yeah, establish. We're talking about ETs. We're talking about UFOs. So sit up straight with your feet flat on the floor and close your eyes. And let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Deep, deep breath. Exhale through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth. Focus on your heart, on this moment in time. Again, breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, focusing on your heart on this moment in time. Say, I ask and intend to create a sacred space. I ask to let go of all distracting thoughts, distracting energy, distracting information. My intent is to experience on a deep cellular level my true original self and my connection to the divine and the being who is meant to communicate with me at this time, who is part of my spirit family and lineage. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, from the heart, expand 360 degrees. Put yourself in a sphere of light. Focus on a point right behind your navel. Imagine that this is a 0 point, meaning a small vortex-like point that holds your energy field together, your physical energy field together, so you're in very stable, centered, physical state. Bring your focus behind your heart. Visualize another 0 point, a small vortex that holds your emotional field together. Visualize a field of all of your emotions that are perfectly still, perfectly calm around this vortex point. Bring your focus up to the middle of your brain, around the pineal gland. And again, visualize another vortex, a 0 point. This is the 0 point that holds your mental field together. Visualize your thoughts, your mental energy, totally still and calm and centered around this 0 point. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, bring your focus back to your heart, visualizing the 3 0 points perfectly aligned, keeping you perfectly still. And now through the heart, ask to feel, see, sense, experience the energy of your original divine self. Ask to experience the energy of another being who is aligned with who you really are. This being is outside yourself, is in front of you, outside your energy field, connecting through the heart. This being is in resonance with who you really are. Recognize this being, connect to them energetically, and ask to receive an important message. It doesn't have to be words or thoughts, it could be a feeling. Please allow an important message that I need at this time to come through. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, Focus on the heart. And allow the information to come in. Just allow. We are grateful for this experience. We ask to maintain our alignment and resonance with who we really are as we move forward on our human path. And so it is. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And slowly, whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
Wow, 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 wow.
How do you feel?
Oh, I had baby Hannah come to visit me. In my arms. Oh my God, in my arms.
Wow, what was the message?
Oh, I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'm all right.
You're tearing.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Wow. And I also saw for you grace and gratitude from her.
Beautiful. I'm knocked out of words. This has been beautiful, Carolyn. This has been so beautiful. We covered the cosmos today and beyond and brought it right back home. So get to wind things down for everybody out there. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get a tear in the sky, and begin discovering who you truly are in the cosmos today. And above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! What a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant interview I had with Carolyn Cory on A Tear or Tear in the Sky. You've got to check out her documentary. On that note, if you want to communicate with the other side, if you want to communicate with higher dimensional beings, angels, guides, extraterrestrials, then get the automatic writing experience. Of course, you can get it as a book, you can get it as a Kindle, you can get it as an audiobook, and you can also learn live with me at automaticwriting.com. I want to help you to communicate with everything in the cosmos and how to discover and help you discover who you truly are. On that note, I want to help you become the mystic you are meant to be. Come join us at our School of Mystics. 4 Wednesdays every month, go to inspirenationuniversity.com where you can become a modern mystic. Of course, you can also follow our entire journey, the birth of baby Hannah, and so much more by joining the Mystic. Click the join button down below and join the Mystic Circle, where you get behind the scenes goodness and meditations and videos with me and updates. Simply click that join button right there. Of course, you want to click the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of upcoming shows, YouTube premieres, and live events with me every Monday night, except for when we're giving birth. How does it get any better than this? Here's a link to the next amazing video. Be sure to check us out on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you catch your podcast as well. Love you guys so, so much. Keep on shining bright. Woohoo! How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this?